Hello and welcome to Chakontas on Friday. I'm Mr. Chakonta and this is my co-host.
This is Chakontas.
And this is a new podcast that we'll be releasing on Friday. Just talking about life, our experiences, and everything in between.
So sit back and enjoy the journey. Hello and welcome back to episode 3 of Fridays with the Chakontas. My name is Mrs. Chakonta and here with me is Mr.
Chakonta. Okay. So today you're producing the episode, right?
Yes, I'm the main host for today.
I'm your co-host.
Yes.
So what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about an interesting topic. Eat, sleep, and repeat.
Okay, so break it down for us. Why did you pick that topic?
I didn't pick that topic. Be honest, you're the one who picked it. Why did you pick that topic, Mr. Chakonta?
To be honest, I think when we come into a certain stage in life, we feel like that's the new cycle we go through. Where you just eat, you sleep, and then go to work and then repeat. And it feels like a long week. So the question comes about how do we gracefully accept that this is the norm that we have to do when we are in a stage of where we've grown up? Or how do we find better ways of using our time to the point of where we think we are being productive in other things that we feel are important?
It's really good. I mean, you forgot the bit about bathing, babe.
Why?
Because there's also bathing. You eat, sleep, and repeat. There's also eat, sleep, bath, repeat.
Okay, we can add also bath. But I don't, maybe you don't understand. I think maybe I'm just looking at the routine.
Yes, no, I understand.
It's not like it's just basically, I think what the main gist of the statement is basically saying we're just doing the cycle over and over again. Yeah. And as we're doing the cycle over and over again, time is going. Mm-hmm. And then after 15 years, you're just where did time go? And then it now leads to another aspect of where you feel what have I achieved in the 15 years? Yeah. And it's a very hard place to be. But we see that this is also something that is needed for us to either pay the bills or for us to be productive citizens in society. Yeah. So, what do you think about the cycle?
The cycle is hard, I think I'm experiencing that part of the cycle in life. Mm-hmm. And I am finding it challenging. One, because I don't think I prepared myself enough, or maybe I wasn't prepared enough, or a combination of that plus other. I just didn't realize that was life. Growing up was that, I think I always imagined growing up, but always imagined the exciting moments, or when I grow up, or maybe when I get my first job. You imagine your first day at work, maybe, or the job that you get, or when you get married, or when you have kids. But I never imagined the day to day. So I think it is a struggle with the day to day, but I think that also comes with understanding your purpose. I feel like if you feel like you're living out the life of eat, sleep, and repeat, but actually you feel fulfilled, or you feel like you are doing what it is that you're called to do, I think that cycle is fulfilling. That is good, and that is the norm, and that's great. But I think the struggle comes in maybe when you don't feel like you've reached your full potential at that time that you personally expect. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does.
You wanted yourself to be at a particular point in life, and and you're not, and so you don't feel like you're living that out. But yeah, I think there's a number of things around it, but I certainly agree. I think it's challenging, and like I said, it's easier for me to speak about myself, but I do feel like I am at that point in my life where I am doing the eat, sleep, repeat, and it's so busy. It's so busy that I am not having as much time or perhaps not creating enough time as I used to when I was younger to just take a moment to breathe and to reset and to understand why am I here and where am I going, and not just personally, like for my own desire, but actually spend time in the Word of God and say, Lord, you've placed me here. What is my purpose where I'm at right now, and where do you want me to be? And I think because I'm so busy and I'm not creating that time, I feel lost.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, a lot of things that you've said, but one of the things like I find very challenging in trying to say, like, maybe is it something about our generation that maybe we just don't appreciate the fact that these things have to be done, and when they have to be done, we need to have a level and an attitude of preparing our mind to say we need to work, we need to do these things. But in the process of us doing those things, maybe we need to also balance other avenues of life. For us, maybe we've never been well prepared for the balance of either you're working and you also have a social life. When you're working and you also are engaged in your local church and all that stuff, and you feel like the work is tagging a lot of your time and energy. To the point of where maybe our generation has not been prepared for that. Yeah. Do you think that's the case?
I think it's multifactorial. I think that's an element of it. I do think that it's a tough one. I think a lot more of us, both men and women, are working in a sense of working outside of the home. So I think that's adding to it. And so you have the home to look after. So as a woman and as a man, you have the duties of the home to look after. And then there's also your local church, which you want to be heavily involved in. And then there's work. And I think work is, I don't know what's happening, but work is very demanding. It's almost like it's wanting so much more of you, and physically it's a struggle to now balance. I don't know. I honestly don't know what the full answer is. I think there's a lot to it. There's a lot that I can say around it, but I feel like it is multifactorial. I feel like no, we're not prepared, but I also feel like the times that we live in are different. For different reasons. That doesn't mean that the other times were less challenging or more challenging, but they're just different. And it's understanding that we are in different times and how does it work. And I feel like perhaps our generation is speaking out a little bit more. I don't know about the other generations, but I feel like we've come to a point where we're like, I don't like it, I have other options. Or I'm tired, I'm going to try something else. I feel like maybe we're not persevering, but not in a negative way. Like we're just not saying if something is not working out, we are a generation who can easily look out for another option.
Yeah, but when you see in the older generation, it's like maybe us having too many options is making us confused. Do you think that? Or possibly. Because like maybe the older generation said, look, this is the option I have and I'm just going to do it to the best of my ability. And do you feel like many options brings a level of us not being content in the season that we're in? And when you have less options, you are content even with the little that you have, to the point of where you work to the best of your ability.
I don't think options bring out contentment or not.
Mm-hmm.
They could bring out a sense of wanting a bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, so I can understand where you're coming from with the word content.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like contentment is from the heart. I feel like it doesn't matter even if you just have one option.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like real contentment is within the heart.
Mm-hmm. But okay, look, let me put this in a different light. Because I think when you talk about options, let's say, for example, like, yeah, you and I have been married for 5 years. Do you think because maybe our generation, there's been like, before people get married, they've either been dating, courting, changing options, changing boyfriend and girlfriend before they meet to that point of where they like find the right one.
Yeah.
Than in the olden days. I don't know how it was in the olden days, but maybe in the olden days was like you're focused and you're committed to a point of where even though things are not working, you basically say, you know what, this is my commitment. Do you feel like our culture, because our culture has come with this attitude of, if I don't like something, I can move to the next thing. If I don't like something, and we're not persevering in what we are doing.
Yes,
and it also trickles down in other aspects of life.
Yeah, I see where you're coming. I agree with you, not 100%, but not that how do I put it? I agree with you 100%, but I don't think it's the 100% full explanation for why. But I agree with you. But in a sense of contentment, not so. But in a sense of maybe not maybe persevering is not the right word, but yeah, maybe not just sticking it out and just saying, actually, I do have other options. I'm gonna go elsewhere, whether it's in a job, whether it's in a relationship. But also that also brings an element of appreciation, because who knows if maybe you dated a lot of people in the past and then you now found a Mr. Chakontas. Maybe not that I dated a lot of people in the past, but I have more appreciation for you because I have other people to compare and be like, oh boy, am I glad I got, I missed that one, or we broke up with this one. So there's benefits to that. But I completely agree with you. I feel like having options can be confusing and can mean that you have an attitude of, you know what, it hasn't worked out. There's plenty more fish in the sea. But if there isn't fish in the sea, you're just like, there's only one fish in the sea, so I'm gonna have to stick it out with this fish.
Okay.
So yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, and also the complexity I think we have, as in, maybe I'm targeting our generation, but because maybe this is the way I think sometimes. You always feel like maybe the grass is green on the other side, because maybe you feel like, okay, let's say from an aspect of a job perspective, like you feel like, okay, if I'm self-employed, I'll have more time to myself. I will do whatever I have to do. But there are also other things maybe we don't see when somebody's selling about the self-employed side of life.
Yeah.
They don't maybe explain that, look, your money is not consistent. There are ups and downs that you really need to figure out, or something like that.
Yes.
And all that stuff. And it's like everybody craves the time. But even when we have that time, we seem to, do we use it even wisely? Are we using it to the benefit of either loving our neighbors, being there for each other, or is our time become something that we use selfishly? To the point of where we're just like saying, you know what, I need this time for me. I'm going to rest. I'm going to take a holiday. I'm going to do A, B, C, D. It's like, it's so centered upon I. Not, I need this time to be, maybe to minister to my brothers and sisters in my local church. I need time to visit my my old grandparents or something like that. I need my time to do something that maybe I'm not able to do consistently.
Yeah.
To be there for a friend or something like that. But there's this culture where I think we are struggling. We are struggling to find our identity in this fast-moving pace in culture. And now when we get into this rat race of eat, sleep, work, and repeat, it can become so tiring to the point of where you just go and say, you know what, you're doing it to the point of where the repetition becomes boring, one. And then two, you're just tired because that's what you're just doing.
Yeah.
And it feels like you're just chasing the money. It feels like you are not growing in other types of life. And I think maybe it's even different for us, basically, maybe because we live in the first world or something, what they consider as the first world. We don't have the perks of having a maid. We don't have the perks of having helpers at home or something like that. So even though we're doing the eat, sleep, work, repeat, there are also chores we have to do at home. So it's like you feel like you're always working.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. You are like the eat, sleep, work, repeat is a real thing. I think they work as hard. They work. I don't know where you work. I don't know where everyone else works, but my work, I feel like my work, they work me hard that I am tired. Like when then I come home, you're right. I'm thinking, okay, I gotta cook, I gotta clean, gotta do some food shopping. And honestly, by the time I've done all of that, you're right in saying that the next thing I think about is me time. I'm just like, I need some time to myself. I need to just breathe. Either it's just spending some time by myself at home or taking whatever it is that I do with, to just enjoy me time. Then that does make you selfish because, selfish, but selfish. You need it because I do need it. Like, I think if I was constantly, work, home life, and then other people, I think I would become a bit snappy because I do need that time to just breathe, take deep breaths, be by myself. If it's watching something, if it's playing on my phone, if it's doing something exciting. But I don't do that so much to the point that I don't spend time with my loved ones. But I do agree that element of being so busy means that I feel like I'm having to take loads of pauses for myself, which means that overall I may not have enough time or as much time as I would like to spend with other people. Like you said, visiting your neighbors, spending time with people at church, or giving somebody a call just to see how they are, giving someone a call just to pray with them, things like that. Like you're having to squeeze things in. But I think there's something that you said about, maybe sometimes we are chasing the money. And I think without realizing, sometimes you can be chasing the money for real. And actually you're doing all of this, but you always have to ask yourself why. And I think when you find out the why, it really helps, because you can have two people in the house, you and I, and we do take pauses sometimes and we do talk about this, where I'm working crazy shifts, you're working crazy shifts, we're making money, but we're not really having time for ourselves, and they're not having time for each other, and they're not having time for others as a couple. So like, why are we putting ourselves through or working? There needs to come to a point where actually enough is enough. Are there some things that in our lives we can cut down so that we have time for each other? By that I mean, are they, do I have to work full time? Do you have to work full time? Like, I feel like sometimes society or the working life or the people that you surround yourself with, whatever it is, can make you feel like you just need to keep working. But actually, you don't need to keep working. If you can meet your basic needs in me doing 3 shifts, you doing 3 shifts, and we have less, why not? Why do we keep going for that extra? Like, yes, we need savings and that's important, but what is enough? What is too much? What is, like, why are we doing it? I don't know if you get where I'm coming from. There needs to come a point where you know why you're doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. But don't you think that indirectly, maybe we don't know the why, but don't you think that because God has ordained work and we have to do it, we just have to do it? Do we need to really know the why and basically say, okay, and we need to channel that why to saying, I'm doing it for the glory of God? Do we need to personally want to do that? Do we need to search for that in us?
Oh, I know what I think. I don't know if, correct me if I'm wrong, if I misunderstood your question. I think we need to know why, which is, why am I working? So I'm working to provide for my family, right? And why am I working? Because God has said that I should work, right? So, but God did not say, I might be wrong, correct me. God did not say I should be working 70 hours a week, right? And God did not say I should be working 70 hours a week to the point that I'm waking up late on Sunday morning because I was working to go to church. So I feel like, yes, we are called to work. Whether I'm called to work in the home, you're called to work for the home, whatever it is, we are called to work. But what is our first calling, and what's our first priority? To be children of God, right? And how do we do that? It's not just by working. It's also by fellowshipping with other people. It's also by being an encouragement to others. When we go to church, we learn from others. We're encouraged by others. We encourage others. When we help a neighbor out, when we help this person out, when we, I think there's so many ways to doing the will of God, and work is one of them. But work, therefore, should not be taking up 70% of my time.
Okay.
That's my thought.
Okay, I get you.
Because then I'm missing out on all the others.
Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah, and I think that's why sometimes it feels like we're in that cycle, because work takes a lot of energy to the point of when you just have free time, you just want to sleep and you just want to eat. So you just feel like you've got maybe a few hours to eat, you've got a few hours to sleep, and you're back at work. And you're just doing that. Even like sometimes I even feel like maybe Saturdays and Sundays just are too short.
They are too short. I don't know who decided to say 5 days you work and then 2 days you're off.
Yeah.
No. Like, they are, because by the time you have a late night on Friday, we say, oh, let's watch a movie. We decide to wake up late on Saturday. Then Saturday you do whatever, running around, chores, cleaning, cooking, or as in shopping. Sunday you go to church, and for whatever reason, after church, that tiredness, that hunger, and that tiredness that just comes. And then you sleep, and it's 5 o'clock, and you're preparing for the next day, and that's it.
Yeah. So yeah, I know that we've complained a lot on this episode, but now the other side is, how can we be grateful? Because some people, they just have a system of eat, sleep, repeat, eat, sleep, repeat, and they don't even have work. How can, sometimes we complain like as if we're ungrateful.
Yes.
Some people will listen to this and be like, okay, you guys, at least you go work and you can pay your bills and whatever. So how can we also be grateful but yet struggle in the situation that we're in, but also understand that this is also something that we can thank God in this struggle?
Yeah.
How do we do that?
I think you pausing and just saying thank you. Honestly, you're right, because sometimes you can go on and on about work and go on and complain, but life is life in a summary. But you just in all things be grateful, in all things be thankful. So I think rather than complaining, rather than me saying, God, why am I working so long? I'm tired, saying, God, thank you for the job that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, you do encourage me with that. And sometimes I do it. I wake up and I don't want to go to work. I'm like, thank you, Lord, I have a job.
Mm-hmm.
And I pray that, God, you help me to use it to the glory of your name.
Mm-hmm.
And I pray for wisdom, because ultimately I do want wisdom in how to deal with, the balance of work, home life,
mm-hmm.
And feeling purposeful in life. But I think you're so right, because it's so easy for us to say about work when other people out there are looking for work. And I'm sure that's something that you can talk about in the future, where I was struggling and saying, oh God, I'm so tired of this job, or Lord, I'm really tired, and you're there looking for work.
Mm-hmm.
And how we had to balance that out, where I am really tired at work,
mm-hmm.
but I'm having to be grateful, and I need to be grateful. I should be grateful in all things,
mm-hmm.
being encouraged to. And then right there, my partner in crime is looking for work.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, we just have to be, there's no two ways about it. You just have to be grateful in all things, because, yeah, like you said, there are other people in a different situation.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you were saying, it's just, the complexity of life. And like you were saying, like, we were on different spectrums. And I think sometimes, like, trying to be gracious towards your feelings about your complaint about work. And you're just like, okay, I wish I had something to basically go to, and something that I'm enjoying. And that's hard, especially you find it hard to sympathize and try to take yourself out of the equation and just think, okay, you know what, okay, my friend is actually having a hard time at work. But you are asking God to say, God, I need this door to be open so I can basically be somebody who's productive, as well as also providing for my family. And it's hard. But I think we also need to understand that the complexity of there will be difficult times in life. And in those difficult times, God also shows us that we need to also cling to Him and put our faith in Him in those difficult times, because each and everybody has their own story. So even in our work life, I think God is also using something maybe we would not learn if we were not put in those situations. So maybe we have to work and actually find that this is actually really hard. This cycle of what you're doing, God uses it for a purpose, to bring some characteristics that we would never get if we never went through that situation. We have to have an attitude of everything that we go through is a lesson that God is trying to teach us. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say from that.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So on this episode, I think we've complained a little bit. And I hope that our final thoughts have also brought a balance to our complaints. So, anything else you want to say?
No, I think you've summarized it really well.
Okay. So thank you for joining us on our podcast. And for those who are listening to this and you like it, you can subscribe, you can like, what else?
And share it.
Yeah. These are just our personal conversations, and I hope that you're encouraged by them. So until next time,
bye.